Manuel Velandia, who is Coordinator of Geographic Information Systems and Sciences with the MarViva Foundation in Bogota, Colombia. And Manuel will be talking about the Coastal Marine Atlas and Marine Spatial Planning, tools for the conservation of the Eastern Tropical Pacific. Manuel, over to you. You have 13 minutes.
Thank you very much and good morning. My name is Manuel Velandia. I am a geographer and science coordinator, as was well said. And today I will be presenting the relationship between the Coastal Marine Atlas and coastal planning, and how both the official public processes planned by the governments and community activities, and we as an NGO can support and collaborate to create the knowledge that can lead to making the most of both the science that is found in the area, but also all of the ancestral and community-based knowledge of the inhabitants of that area. So I will start with my presentation. Please confirm if you can see it. Yes, we see it now. Thank you. Okay, so first, some context on the foundation MarViva. We are an NGO, so we aim to support both the communities and the authorities to create frameworks that lead to sustainability of resources in the Eastern Tropical Pacific. This is an area with one of the highest biodiversity in the world. It's a hotspot where we have a tropical rainforest and ocean, so this really is a tropical area. And the foundation has found a niche for marine spatial planning. There are many areas where it's important to create plans, and there are many marine protected areas and other conservation strategies that have been passed by authorities, by communities and other NGOs. And all of these plans and documents that have been created in these areas sometimes remain as very technical and hard to put in practice, both for decision makers and communities. So marine and coastal atlases that the foundation has created in partnership with many stakeholders have sought to make this knowledge more easy to understand, something that will allow socioeconomic and the weather-related technical data a little bit easier to understand for the general public. Because sometimes if we don't have the training or the time to really go deep into this, it can be difficult. So that's our goal, and we have tried to create marine spatial plans in parallel to deliverables, both physical and digital tools that will support decision making. To give you more specific information, this is a map of the northern coast of Colombia in the east. You can see some areas highlighted which are protected areas and also zones for fishing resources protection and for protection against tourism, deforestation, and so on and so forth. So each of these areas is categorized differently, but they are all protected in some way. Some have more strict protection, others not so much, and some activity is allowed in them. So what we sought to do is that all of the activities carried out in those areas have the necessary compatibilities for them to be carried out sustainably. So to do this, and this is really the result of 15 years of work that the foundation has done in that area, we have created two atlases, one of the northern Pacific coast, which is the area that you see in the map. That's the main focus. It's one of the most pristine areas in Colombia, one of the lesser known ones with Afro-descendant communities and indigenous communities. So it took us a great effort to collect data, not only the technical data, but also the knowledge from the communities, because it is a very isolated area. There is no connectivity or utilities. There's no transportation there. There's no power infrastructure. So it is difficult to access, and there's little information about it. And that is why it's most important to approach the community in order to learn about the fishing methodology that they use, for instance. That's one of the things that we have done to try to make decisions about the sustainability of their practices. In the link, which you see there, you can look at the atlas more in depth. This is the index, and the idea is that this will become a tool both for decision makers and local communities, because it seeks to collect very rich information on the whole context. It is an atlas, a sort of reader digest, if you will, very high level, very visual, very easy to understand. But we will have a digital tool as well that will have more up-to-date information that will be live for decision makers. When we started this project, we saw that the results were fantastic at the beginning, and thanks to that, the communities started being heard much more in terms of decisions made in their areas. And that is why 2 years later, we published the second atlas of a more southern region, also in the Pacific coast. So we started from the northernmost tip and we went down south to try to find quality information on the marine and coastal areas. So again, we analyzed the environmental aspects, but also socioeconomic, a little bit of climate change, and also perception of microplastics and nanoplastics, which was mentioned in other presentations, but always in close collaboration with the communities. And now we're working on the Atlas of the San Juan River Delta, which is again a little bit more to the south if you look at the map of Colombia. And we are currently gathering information for this new third atlas with an added complexity, which is that here there are more Afro-descendant and indigenous communities. So the idea is that by the end of this year, we will be ready to launch this third San Juan River Delta Atlas. Okay, so to go deeper into the information, the maps that are found in the Atlas obviously are made with very technical knowledge, but with the support of communities. So here's an example of maps that show fishing practices and fishing habits in the area. That information we gathered with local collectors, with fishermen who were trained by the foundation and who have worked on fishing ordinance, because there is artisanal traditional fishing, but there's also sports fishing, and there are many complexities in the way that the marine environments and coastal environments are used. So these inconsistencies made it difficult, and we sought to find a solution to this. So to do this, our approach was first understanding the context as best we could, exploring it with the communities, and allowing themselves to take ownership of the knowledge so that their voices are heard. Often in community based participatory processes, we hear the voice of only a few representatives or NGOs. But what we wanted to do was allow for the communities to speak for themselves. And with these tools that we definitely provided the technical knowledge for, we have presented the information, but it is information that truly came directly from them, and that was used then for the spatial planning. This information on fishing practices has allowed for effective spatial planning, because now we know where there's more fish being captured, where some areas are harmful in terms of certain species. So that understanding has allowed us to come up with a plan for sustainability in the fishing sector. And we did the same for tourism and beach expansion as well as deforestation. This is another example of work that we have done. This doesn't really have much to do with local governance, but this is an atlas of the thermal dome of Costa Rica. It has been an interesting effort, and you can also access it following the link. There is also a portal. It's free access. If you go to MarViva, you will be able to find this atlas. And this has allowed for a more regional understanding outside of the national scope, which is also interesting. There's a lot of biodiversity, especially for the migration of species such as the blue whale or turtles. And this atlas has been useful to do political advocacy in regional spaces. I think this can also be helpful. It has helped to try to spark discussion across the region. So again, not only within the national borders of Costa Rica, but inviting all the region to be involved in the protection of these areas. So in conclusion, all of the information gathered in the atlases has been a part of parallel process of marine spatial planning, and we do want the communities to be involved in using the technologies that we have developed. The maps are very rich in data. We will be generating more digital products based on those maps, and right now it's all free access, so it's free to share with authorities and decision makers. That's also something that the communities wanted and agreed to. And the foundation feels that we have been very successful in launching this digital platform as well as the printed version of the atlases. Thank you. And if there are any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them. And I do want to invite everybody to visit our website for MarViva, where you will find more information available.
Wonderful. Thank you very much, Manuel. Again, a great example of a very rich information base in an atlas, and then the link through to conservation and policy applications, as well as the use and engagement. So thank you very much for that. We have time for maybe a quick question, if there's anything in the chat or anyone on the floor. But if not, then I'd like to move on to our next speaker.